first subject on my little list of slide guitar mistakes is you're using the wrong guitar. In general, my position is that you could play slide on any guitar or any type of guitar, but undeniably, some guitars are easier to play slide on. And the factors that makes a guitar easier to play slide on are the action, the string height, how high the strings are from the fretboard. If the strings are too low, it's very easy to push the slide into the frets. And of course, the relief of the neck plays into that too. The string gauge, how heavy the strings are, how thick they are. For the same reason, thin strings are easier to push into the fretboard. So if you're struggling with playing slide on the guitar that you're using right now, maybe a different guitar would help you, or a different setup on your guitar. The second mistake you could be making, I'm a bit of an expert because I've made all those mistakes. The second mistake is using the wrong slide. There are lots of different slides nowadays. Different materials like glass from a bottle, brass, steel, maybe an old medicine bottle like this. And they all have different weight, different length, different size of the hole where you put your finger, and certain slides fit certain guitars better, and certain slides fits certain hands and players better. For this old parlor guitar, I use a short and light glass slide because the strings are thin, and a heavy slide would be overkill. I would push the strings into the guitar a lot easier. For a resonator guitar, for example, with thick strings, you could use a heavier slide. There are slides like this brass one that has a shape that is supposed to fit the radius of the strings. If you have a guitar like this that has no radius, the fretboard is flat, the strings are flat, that's not a good fit. So check out different slides and see what fits you and your guitar. The third mistake you could be making is putting the slide on the wrong finger. Some people like to put the slide on the middle finger, some on the ring finger, some people like me on the pinky, some even put the slide just in the palm and play like Richard Blackmore. I couldn't do that. I think the two most viable options are the ring finger and the pinky. Having the slide on the ring finger makes for better control of the vibrato and of the intonation and control in general, I think, at least to begin with. I like to use the pinky because it gives me the option to play a reasonable amount of chords using the other three fingers. So be sure to try the different fingers and see what is right for you. Number 4 is bad muting. When you play slide guitar, you are going to use a whole lot of muting. The left hand does the muting by putting the first finger down on the strings behind the slide. That's not the hard part. The right hand is the hard part, I would say. I play with my fingers always when I play slide. If you play with a pick, it's a bit different, but you still will have to mute. that's even harder, I would say. When using the fingers, I mute all of the strings. And if I am going to play on the first string, I just lift the finger that mutes the first string, and I play my little note, and I put it back. Everything else is muted all the time while I play the first string. If I was to play 3 strings, I'll have to lift the fingers on those and keep everything else muted. If I play a little something first with muting, and let's try if I can do it without. That's not great. And if you're playing electric guitar with a lot of distortion, it's going to be even worse. So make sure you use good muting. The 5th mistake is having bad intonation. And this is a big one. Intonation basically means that you play in tune. And this is something most slide players work on long term to get somewhat perfect. Playing in tune means right on pitch, not sharp or flat. In tune. And when you play guitar non-slide, you put your fingers between the frets. When you use a slide, it goes directly over the fret wire. So to know if you're in tune, you'll have to use your eyes and, most importantly, your ears. When you play together with other people, you can use them as a reference to hear whether you're in tune or not. When you play by yourself, you can do like I just did. You use an open string to check. One thing that helps with intonation is having a vibrato. If I play non-vibrato, it's very obvious if you're out of tune with a bit of vibrato. It makes it easier to be in tune. So make sure your intonation is spot on. Number 6, playing too slidey. And no, that's not an established music theory term, but it describes the problem. Playing too slidey, by that I mean that when you start playing slide, if you're like me, you have a tendency to slide in and out of every note. It sounds great if you're playing some obscure Asian folk music, I guess, but for slide guitar, you'll have to apply a bit of taste and variation. You don't have to slide into and out of every note. Pick a few. So don't be too slidey. And we have reached number 7, which is you're using the wrong tuning. Obviously, you can use standard tuning. It has many advantages. All the notes are where they usually are. You can play nice little melodies. Parts of chords, you can play the George Harrison solo and stuff like that. But if you want to play, say, Rolling and Tumbling, you want to have it in open G. because that's the way it was recorded. And same goes for a lot of other songs. If they were recorded in open D or open E, you should try that tuning, obviously. If you want something more moody, you can change your open tuning to minor tuning. So make sure you're in the right tuning for what you want to accomplish. 8 is having a bad vibrato. Those come in many different flavors. You could have a really fast or a really slow. They can be narrow. They can be wide. But whatever you prefer and whatever comes natural to you, make sure it's a controlled one. You don't want it to sound like... I don't think it does, but you want to have it under control. And listen to good cello and violin players. They have great vibratos. I stole one thing from them. I learned that you don't have to start your vibrato immediately. You can ease into it. Let the note ring a little bit first. So make sure you don't have a bad vibrato. Mistake number 9 is playing songs that are too hard, too difficult for you. Start simple, especially if you're starting slide from scratch. Start really simple. Take a simple melody that you can play without a slide. I'll just make something up. Then try to play it using the slide. And then gradually try to make it more musical, add some vibrato, add some phrasings. And get the basics down. And if you're into the blues, tune to open G. It's a good place to start with open tunings. Learn the 3 basic chords, the 1, the 4, the 5, and just play around with those to begin with. Start easy. Finally, number 10, and this is the biggest mistake of them all. You lack patience. When playing slide, especially if you're starting out, it's not going to sound good. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to sound good the first hour, the first day, the first week, the first month. But be patient. Hang in there. If it doesn't sound good, never mind that. Just keep going. And as I said in number 9, start easy and just enjoy the ride. And you'll get there in the end. Thanks for watching this video, and as usual I'll be back every Sunday with some kind of blues or slide related stuff. See ya.